Howdy, 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 everybody. Welcome to another Catch Up with Mayo live stream Q&A, our weekly get together. And I am really hoping that 24 hours from now, I will be in the theater seeing American Graffiti for its 50th anniversary. I have tickets, that's not the problem. The whole thing is I just want everything to go smooth, want everything to go well. Hey, Tom, is Tom checking in? What's going on? Nicholas and George. So yeah, I'm really hoping everything goes smooth because I'm just too damn excited. 'Cause I wanted to see this in the theater for a long time. I did see American Graffiti on the big screen again in the 1990s. Of course, I saw it when it first came out in 1973 when I was like a child, and I loved it. And I got a chance in the 90s to see it on the big screen at Radio City Music Hall. It was brought back, and one more time. So, yep. What's going on, everybody? That's the most news and update I've got that I could think of. I was going to show you a record I bought today. I did buy a Tony Bennett record today at the store. One that I've wanted since Tony Bennett passed away, and it's I Left My Heart in San Francisco, that album. And there was a really good copy of it in mono that was really clean. In fact, it really looked like it was not played. It's what it looks like. It probably was, but it looks like not played. So, yes, Nicholas, I did this also with Star Wars. I actually took my two nephews to see it. Well, we saw, I think, yeah, it was the three of them, the first three, and I took them to see them. They don't remember that. They were really small. One of my nephews would be like, geez, sure it was 1997? Was that when it was? Because that would make one of my nephews would be like 6 and the other one would be 5. I guess so. Hello, Henry. Hello, King and Fab4. Hello, JL Draw. Yeah, well, Fathom Events is showing American Graffiti Sunday and Wednesday. So, you know. And of course, you can watch my video that I did, the rant video about the debacle in getting the tickets, which was crazy. Just crazy. But that's all in the past now. As I say, the main thing now is to see the show, and it's all for the better because at first it was just going to be my girlfriend and I that were going to go. Now we got my girlfriend, me, and we've got Robert S. can go now because of the situation that happened and the fact that they canceled originally, then resold everything, and then also my nephew, one of my nephews. So yes, that's true. May Pang's Lost Weekend documentary is going to get an official release. I noticed that too. Yeah. That would be a good idea for us to do. Definitely, Marcus. That'd be a good idea for us to do that. Do a talk more talk episode once everybody sees it. Great movie, but I've yet to see the sequel. If you're talking about American Graffiti, more the sequel, More American Graffiti, is not very good, but I enjoy it more every time I see it. It's nothing like the original. You got to proceed cautiously, but there's one story I like in it. There's different vignettes, different stories. Each character has a different story arc, and I like the one with Terry the Toad, Charles Martin Smith, his stint in Vietnam in 1965, and how he tries everything possible to get out of there. It's comical. He tries to find ways to get relieved from having to be in there. So, yeah, I don't know what that liquid death was. Liquid death in a can. It's supposed to be water or mountain water, whatever the heck that means. Not just water, but mountain water. So, cheers, everybody. Speaking of water, it's not liquid death, but it comes out of a plastic gallon bottle. And of course, these days also, it's like, plastic's no good for you. It's like, nothing's good for you except the Beatles. So, yeah. I really, honestly don't know what this is, Paulina. Honestly, I don't know. Tom sees liquid death all over Phoenix and Vegas. I don't remember seeing Psycho 4. I saw Psycho 2, and Psycho 3. Um, yeah. Yeah, or there's a Beatles film, the acting or the casting has to be on. Yeah, you're right. It's hard to, you know, replicate the Beatles. Hey, Julio says he wouldn't have paid with a card either for that water, going by my video. Any regrets about buying the Hey Jude picture from, I did the flea market video where there was a Hey Jude picture. None at all. Not for that price. I really wanted to have it. I would have probably just, stood it up somewhere in the back. It'd be a nice background image to have here. I wanted it, but no regrets of not spending $50 on it. No, and that's what the person wanted. $50 is too much, I think. Okay, I know that James means hi Joe. Oh, not hi Jill. I'm pretty sure. See, hi Joe. Sees James right there. Hi Joe. Would you like to see Ringo just put out one really good album instead of redundant EPs? Well, right now, like I've always said, I don't really care how I get them as long as I get them. Whether he wants to put out one album or four EPs, fine. But I gotta say, even I am getting sick and tired right now of it. It's starting to get to me a little bit too, because at first I didn't care. Other people were saying it pretty much. Oh, he's making us buy things over again, paying more money. It's not about the money, although the money having to pay more for the music sucks. Who wants to pay more when you could pay less? But that's really not what it is, though. But I do think I mean, 10-inch records. I like the EP format. I think it's cool. But I'll take it any way I can get it, really. How big a fan am I on the Molly Ringwald 80s classics? Uh, I never saw Pretty in Pink. 16 Candles. I liked 16 Candles. I thought that was funny. My favorite line in there is "I'm back, so I smell." That's one of my. If I think that's that movie. I think that's funny. And Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club is okay, but Breakfast Club wasn't a movie made for me in my age group. At the time, I think I was a little too old for Breakfast Club at the time when I saw it. Julio says that Hey Jude guy was a crook with that magazine advert that he put in a frame. Hi, Joe. American Graffiti. It's a great movie. What's your favorite part? Oh, there's so many favorite parts. That's what I like about it so much. Just the different characters involved in different scenarios. I think I like all the stuff with the Pharaohs. When Richard Dreyfuss is made to follow the Pharaohs on a trip at night, and they try to get him into the club, so to speak. I like that. Um, wow, there's just a lot of. I'm thinking it's all good. The whole thing I'm thinking of is good. I like all the stuff with Charles Martin Smith as Terry the Toad. I mean, that's all great stuff. All of it. You know. Okay. Yesterday found me enjoying Dylan's Bootleg Series Volume 15, wondering why they didn't invite Johnny Cash into the Traveling Wilburys. Good question. That's a good question. I can't buy. I like Bob Dylan, and I have just about all of his regular catalog, just about. At least 80% of it. But when it comes to the bootleg series, I kind of pick and choose those. I really want to get the one that has 1965, 66, the stuff from Highway 61 Revisited. Yeah, I don't think I saw Can't Buy Me Love, that movie from the 80s. Well, the thing about Ringo is I don't think that his songs, in my opinion, are so bland. I just think it's getting bland because they're starting to sound the same. You know what I mean? Like I like a lot of the newer stuff Ringo's done in the last 20 years or whatever it's been now, but it's getting to be a kind of same old sound. Well, I haven't seen all the Stephen King movies, but the ones I have seen, Misery is my favorite Stephen King movie. Between the Red and the Blue albums, which do you have a preference of listening more? These days I probably would rather hear the Blue album. I don't know why. I like the early Beatles best. Go figure that. Well, the Beatles song you most listen to are found in the Red and Blue. Yes, the Beatles. Well, my favorite Beatles song is "She Loves You," and that's it. That's in the Red albums. I saw pictures of Bob Barker. I didn't realize that he why I did. To be honest with you, now that you mention it, I thought Bob Barker might have already been gone. I didn't realize that. Well, I had some. I watch The Price is Right sometimes in my life. I've done that. Yes, I saw the movie Caveman. I think it's a good comedy. I think Ringo's funny in the movie. I think it's a fun movie that was worth seeing as a comedy. The Cutting Edge. That's the one I need, right? Dylan Bootleg Series Volume 12. Over $1,000 now. The box set is. Keep it. Keep it. Penny Lane, you're in my ears and in my eyes. What's going on, Penny Lane? Yeah, Matthew Smith is dying in Texas. I know. Matthew. When I say that I love the summer, and I still do, I'll always love the summer. But I understand you say how hot it is. We're talking about you're in Fort Worth, Texas, right? So of course that's exceptionally humid. I think there's enough material from the Hard Day's Night soundtrack to make a reissue box. Absolutely, I think there's enough to make for every album to get its original box. Every Beatles album should be treated with respect and get its own individual deluxe box. And when the time they remaster the album, and they put in books and photos and all that kind of thing, and whatever sessions they can want to put in there, it'll make a nice box. Yeah, I didn't like Valley Girl either. I think I walked out on Valley Girl. I think. Oh no, it was Raising Arizona. I don't remember liking Valley Girl. I saw Valley Girl. I didn't like it, but Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I do like that movie. Back in the 1990s, when I went to Radio City Music Hall in Manhattan to see American Graffiti, it was on a double feature. They played American Graffiti first, and then Fast Times at Ridgemont High after. So, oh, you said the humidity thing. I'm sorry. I'm used to Matthew Smith always saying it. Oh God, I'm sorry. I got to read closer. I think I made a mistake like that too last time. I think Paul still smokes pot off and on. I heard he stopped, and then I think he did some recently. Did he smoke pot recently? Yeah, every Beatles album will eventually get a box set. Apple wouldn't have gone down this far down the road if that wasn't their intent. Here we go, another one of these people. Julio, man, you're just as bad as Martin McGrath. Sorry to trash you, Martin McGrath, but you know he does. Martin McGrath does this all the time. I defend Ringo, but I just did a video where I said the new song is bad. Well, ordinary, nothing special. It's not bad. I'll take it back. I said it was ordinary. It's nothing special. I want something different from Ringo. So, and you know, and I've always say how he says peace and love too much, and I'm sick of that shtick. And then if I met Ringo on the street, he'd probably tell me to go bug off or bugger off or whatever they say, or get lost or take a hike. So where do you people get this stuff that I always defend everybody to the end? You know, God, you just don't know me. As Ringo said, you think you know me, you really know me, but you don't know me at all. You know. Did that guy ever get his potluck album? You're talking about Telephone Paul. We never heard from Telephone Paul in years, months, years. We don't know if he's alive, sadly. I don't know. When you say Paul has a few nasty tracks, what are we talking about? Vanity Fair? Lavatory oh you mean ones where he's making fun of like he's putting people down? Is that what you mean? Well, I'm not losing hope yet. You know, I'm not the most optimistic guy in the world, but I'm not going to lose hope on that yet. Hmm. Yeah, we've heard about Back to the Egg having some property issues. Yes, I heard about that too. Uh, I don't know what the truth is on that. Martin McGrath says a message has never been less heartfelt than Ringo's peace and love message. It's embarrassing. I feel for people having to join in with that S word. Shit. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think Ringo's sincere about he'd like world peace. I mean, don't we all want world peace? No fighting, everybody getting along. You know, can't we all get along? Yada yada yada. But as far as one on one, when you when Ringo meets people, sometimes he's not very nice all the time. Sometimes he can be cool, I'm sure. But see, here I go again, picking on Ringo again. I love Ringo, but come on, Julio, you're missing the boat. Yes, Big Boys Bickering was another song, and despite repeated warnings, Peter, I don't know. I don't know. I can't catch every interview. I don't think I caught that interview, The Power of Music. Oh, there's one what he says about its magic. He used the word magic to describe music. Well, Steel and Glass is one of my very favorite songs by John, for sure, personally. Yeah, I think Ringo needs to shake it up, work with different writers and musicians instead of the same old he's used for years. Yeah, maybe even get into a studio other than his house. I don't know. Ringo has a little bit more of that crooners, Frank Sinatra stuff in his music than the rest of the Beatles. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, I'd agree. You know, hello, Joe. Yes, yes, I like Hammer films, Hammer horror films. Sure, I'm really a Universal guy mostly, but I do like the Hammer British films. Well, that's a good point too. Ringo's not about really to shake it up at this point. He doesn't seem to care. He's just doing what he does. He likes it that way. He likes to keep the same band, the All Star Band. The All Star Band's great, but really, you see, again, here's another critic. Julio, oh, there's Julio. You still out there, Julio? You still out there? There he is, Julio. Yeah, you're there. But also, I would say he needs like the All Star Band. I like them, but it's the same band since like 2010, I think, or something like that. I love Ringo also, but he's been putting out a lot of mediocrity. Well, I don't, whatever. I think Ringo's done some of the best stuff he's ever done. Now I'll defend him in the last, like I say, in the 21st century. But not every track is a winner. We are talking about Ringo after all, not Paul, or But yeah, and I do think that some of the stuff lately is kind of just the same old stuff. It's okay one time, but it sounds like the same. Hello, Tanner. So you ordered the new Ringo EP yesterday, vinyl, cassette, and CD. Wow. And it had the vinyl and CD are now sold out on Ringo's site. Well, there'll be plenty of places to get it. Believe me. I still see copies of his other albums and choose, uh, Change the World, EP3. I see them in the old record stores around here. I watched a Ringo interview and he's drunk. That's right, he was drunk in a couple of interviews. Guess what? I probably watched them before you. I did watch them before you were born. Okay, on TV when they first aired. We don't know that Ringo had. It doesn't matter. But why do you want to like? Why do you want to cling on to that? The man's been sober since 1988. I give Ringo a lot of credit for that. Who's the greatest solo artist of all time? I guess Paul. There you go. I'm glad we are on the same page there. Very good. Well, the power of music. I probably so much of this stuff I've seen. As I say, you can't really read the titles back there, but a lot of them are a lot of unofficial stuff on DVD. Ringo says peace and love. When he says it, it's just sort of like his version of saying, "Hey," like a puppet on a string. Yeah, I've heard Matchbox in sound check. Yeah, yeah, that's good. I think October 13th, Ringo's EP is coming out. I think. Did I get anything during the recent Kino Lorber sale? I'm drawing a blank now. I don't know. I've gotten some stuff, but I don't know if it was the Kino Lorber sale. Maybe before the Kino Lorber sale. Hmm. Yeah, I don't. I could never picture this happening. I really can't. Pete Best singing "Boys Don't Pass Me By, Good Night," but who knows? If Pete Best would have stayed with the Beatles, we might not have known any different. Who do I have the most albums of besides the Beatles? Maybe Elvis. I like Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album from '75. I've seen too many clips of Ringo being kind of nasty to fans, but then other times he can be all right. I guess depends on his mood. But Ringo is also very apprehensive. He's very hesitant. You know, it seems like a lot of times. And not just since what happened to John Lennon, but even before that. Haven't seen the Coke Zero guy since the last video. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you're used to one guy, isn't it? It's hard. Who's the most approachable of the Beatles, do you think? I think that depends. I think was the least approachable, generally speaking. I think Paul's probably the most approachable, but even he has his bad days, as I found out personally. When I will not go into that story again. He didn't. He got mad at a woman that was with us, not me, but I snapped at a woman. And I think John Lennon, a lot of times, believe it or not, was very approachable. Okay. At times, John had his bad days too. I know people who tried to get an autograph and John wasn't into it that particular day, but there's plenty of evidence. There's plenty of evidence of him being really cool. I love the movie Freddy versus Jason, or you know, I would say I don't like it as much as when I first saw it. When I saw it, I was so happy to have a movie out, Freddy versus Jason, at all, because I grew up with King Kong versus Godzilla, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. So when they brought these two modern powerhouses together, I've been waiting for that movie for many, many, many years. And I really went overboard praising it when it first came out. Now I think it's good. It's good, not great. But it does a good job at bringing Freddy and Jason together and trying to figure a way for the two of them to meet in a plausible plot. You know. Okay. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. I believe Ringo, thinks because he was a Beatle, he can do no wrong. People will buy his music just for that reason. People don't buy his music for that reason. He often teases people on stage. He'll say in the live concerts, he'll say, "I have a new album out. How many people have bought it? Show of hands. One, two." So he knows the deal. People aren't just buying his stuff just because he was the Beatle. Not, and there's nothing wrong with it either, in my opinion, if they do, only because of that. Yeah, John said a lot of things. Our best work was never recorded when they were playing Hamburg in the clubs around Liverpool. Well, he just means the live energy, the live unbridled energy. That's what he means. I think he would say the recording's got to be better with Ringo. And I also don't agree with that was just John being John. Trying to stick it to the Beatles a little bit. Apprehensive is understandable when you consider people have been pouring over him and demanding time every day since he was 21 or so. I get it. What about the poor little fans? What if you're a poor little fan today? Ringo, can I have an autograph? He says, "Don't bother me, kid." Oh, you're going to be performing at a Pride event. That's cool. You're going to open Figure of Eight as the opening number. That's very interesting. Cool. I like that. most of the time it's cool. Yeah. What was George like to fans? I think both ways as well. I mean, he could be grumpy and sarcastic as well, but he could be nice at times. From what I understand, all I know, not that I know everything, but from what I've known of people, fans, and you know, I remember there's one girl. I knew a girl. I met her at a Paul show actually one time, and she told me that she had a photo album of pictures with the Beatles and autographs, and she said one time, I think it was at the tribute, the Bob Dylan tribute, 1992, it might have been, where I think she was at the hotel or something, and George came out and said, "Hey, George, can I get an autograph?" And so he signed an autograph for the girl. And then she told me, she said, can I get a picture with you? And he said, later on. So she waited. And when George came back, she was still there. He said, George, how about that picture? And he said, oh, get a job, she told me. So there you go. Who the hell knows, you know? Yeah, George didn't like fame. You know, I always feel like, well, then stay digging ditches, be an electrician or whatever you were going to do. You know, I mean, maybe it could be argued that you don't know what fame would be like, until you wind up getting it, and then you see for yourself you don't like it. That's possible, but leave it for people. That's one of the things I love about Paul. Paul really embraced it. I like that. Do I plan on seeing Bob Dylan again? I saw him twice. I think I'm happy with Dylan. I don't think I'd see him anymore. No, I just would. I mean, I saw him one time in 1989, and he was terrible. Then I saw him in 2013 with Tempest. When Tempest was out, I thought he was pretty good. But I'm okay with that. Yeah, but see, I don't go for this. I don't feel like this. Some people don't realize that when you are Paul or Ringo and are constantly being hounded by fans, you get a big fed up. Get a bit fed up. Put yourself in their place and how would I feel about it? From my perspective, try being a mailman and getting bothered by customers every day. Are the stamps going up yet? Why are they paying so much for this? Try walking in the rain, sleet, snow, and hail and breaking your back for 30 years or whatever the hell it is. And I don't get paid anything compared to what Paul or Ringo gets paid. So I'm sorry. I do appreciate this a little bit. I've always been able to appreciate it. I guess all that time it does wear on your nerves, and all that time it can get a little bit annoying. You chose it, pal. You're the one that wanted to be. You wanted to be a star. You did it. Now this goes with the territory. It comes with the I heard a quote from John Lennon one time. I don't remember where now. Where he says, "Well, I figure that goes with the territory." When he was asked about the fandom and all that. I'm sorry, it goes with it, and you're getting paid millions or billions of dollars or whatever it is that Paul's getting. I'm sorry, that's how I feel about it. Now, having said that, you're allowed your moods. You're allowed. I believe they're allowed their moods. There are times when you just maybe you're busy or you have no time or you're rushing around, or maybe you're just having a barely bad day. I saw an interview with Frank Sinatra just today, I think, this morning or yesterday morning on, when you see a short video. And Frank Sinatra looked like, and it was late Frank, and Frank was older. He was an older guy. He wasn't young. And he said something like that he'll always sign autograph. And he says, because when you think about it, it's not that hard to do. And you really can make somebody very happy. Frank Sinatra said, I don't know if anybody's seen that interview of Frank. And he said, how hard is it really when you think about it? Now I realize if you have 100 people around you, you're trying to get from your hotel door to the limousine, and people are swamping you, and there's 200 people there. That's a bit more chaotic. I'm talking about once in a while, the odd person on the street. But not everybody agrees with this, and that's fine. We can have different opinions, but I definitely feel like my heart bleeds. Here's the world's smallest violin playing for you. That's how I feel about it. I've always felt like that. I've not seen the movie Bullet Train. What celebrity would you like to put a custard pie in the face? Wow, there's a lot of them out there. I won't name them because I think you'll know where I'm going. Joy Behar is one of them. Let's put it that way. Hmm. What's my favorite slasher movie? That's hard to say. I like a lot of them. Again, I wish I could come up with these answers. I like the Friday the 13th series, but my favorite one is probably, I'm going to say Friday the 13th, the final chapter, the fourth one in the series, which it was not final as it turned out. Do I think sometime in New York City or Bangladesh will ever be released? We already have Bangladesh. We have Bangladesh released, so I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, as far as having, I mean, the show is on, DVD. I don't know at this point, but and sometime in New York City, I really hope they're going to put sometime in New York City out, and there's not going to be anything to block it. They're not afraid of anything. I hope they put it out. It deserves to be out, even if not everybody likes it. It's one of John's albums. That's a good point. The problem, Julio, is that there are entertainers who are hounded just as much as Paul and Ringo, and they handle it better. Sometimes it's easier just to say yes to say no. That's another thing. I remember a quote from that. I think it was it the Playboy interviews. I mean, the book that came out of the Playboy interviews. I think in the Sheffield is it part where he's talking about it. He said to John, "Why did you sign the autographs today? Like maybe they were sneaking around the elevator or something, trying to get up. He signed an autograph." And I remember John saying to him, "It's easier to do it than not do it." No, I mean I have no way of knowing, but I don't think Ringo drinks. I think he's sincere and he's doing a great job. I don't think so. Sorry, folks, just looking down. Real. Sorry, 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 sorry. I know it's a dead space here for me, but I'm just reading, trying to find the right ones to highlight. Paulina says, from what I've seen from George and Get Back, he most of the time didn't want to do shit, no matter how much John and Paul tried to please him. Do you remember that the famous argument they had? Where when I remember where he said, "I'll play whatever you want me to play." I remember him saying, "No, let's do it." George was remember that scene. George was like, "Let's do it," and Paul said, "Maybe we should go on to something else." He goes, "No, let's finish this first." George was. I don't know if that's what you mean, but that like came into my mind. That scene. Earth reminds me, John was killed, Mr. Mayo, because he was too approachable. He was killed because there was a lunatic out there. Paul's been pretty approachable. So far, so good. Let's see. Yes, I do like the song "Zoom In, Zoom Out." Yes, I do. I think it's a good song. I think that first EP was really good. The songs were pretty consistent. I think I like most of them. Oh, the Beatles. No, nobody ever could have imagined that kind of fame. Even the Beatles. Well, you see, now I'm going to say this. I'm going to try to be fair. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate here. You say you'd love to sign autographs if you were a celebrity. It would really show, wow, tons of people love me. I wouldn't turn people down. Well, the thing is, that's what you say now. And in all fairness, even I remember Paul McCartney saying to Musician Magazine in 1980, he said, what happens is you get famous, everybody wants your autograph, and you'll love it. He says, there's nothing you won't sign. He says, any number of autographs, you want them, I'll do them. And he goes, that wears off, he says, after a few years. And you start thinking, what am I bloody signing for you for? I remember him talking about that. So there you go. Yeah, a lot of people say this. I don't agree with that. I welcome your opinion and I respect your opinion. You say my feeling as Texas's biggest Beatles fan, who buys all their records and stuff, is that while I'd love to meet, or talk to, get an autograph and picture from Ringo or Paul, they don't owe me a thing. I just don't come from that line of thinking. I mean, my line of thinking is always they do owe you, and everybody could start the comments and throw the tomatoes if you like. But it's an old cliche. You know, I'll give you an example by Mo from the Three Stooges. Remember Mo Howard from the Three Stooges? There's a story where he was at a train station or something, and his son, Mo's son, dressed up in a disguise, and he wanted to see if his father would recognize him. So he came up and acted like he was a fan. He said, "Hey, are you Mo from the Stooges?" And he goes, "Well, yes, I am." He says, "Well, can I get an autograph?" And he goes, "Oh, sure." And Mo signed an autograph. Now, while this is going on, as I understand the story from memory, his wife and sister, or whoever it was, are laughing because they know it's his son in a disguise. So they're giggling. And he goes, "Okay." So he walks away. And as soon as the guy gets out of earshot, he turns around, Mo, and he says, "Don't you ever laugh at my fans again." He says, "If it wasn't for them, I'd be nothing." Love that story. I haven't listened to enough of Sinatra's albums in entirety to decide about a favorite album. No, those are definitely, well, those specific things I'd agree with you. They didn't sign on to being locked in hotel rooms, unable to leave, and cripples coming to their room or stuff like that. Becoming any of the four, one of the four of the most famous people. They didn't sign on for that. They didn't, but you do know if you get famous, you lose your privacy. I mean, I'm not, not saying to that extent. We know, as you just very eloquently explained, JL Draw, the Beatles went above and beyond that reaction. They got more popular than anybody could imagine. Don't say it. Don't say it. More popular than anybody, practically. And yeah, but in general, it goes with the territory. I mean, to lose your generally lose your privacy in general. To what extent that goes, that's another story. Definitely, I agree with that. Which Beatle? I think Ringo often worked with John the most. I think John and Ringo probably worked the most together. With Paul also. No, I think that John. Look, you could see John's mind. John was always very odd. John was odd. He was interested in weird, different kind of things. I could easily see that Yoko Ono's exhibit appealed to John's sense of, mystery and weirdness and bizarreness and surrealism. That's what John Lennon was all about. So I don't think he didn't get with Yoko till after considerably after that. But definitely that was one of the things that appealed to him. They were kind of on the same path. Some people may say those two were made for each other. Those two belong together. Has that, when they say that. Well, not for nothing. I've said this many times. You said I read somewhere that Taylor Swift doesn't even need to sign autographs. Most of her fans want selfies. If I met Paul or Ringo, and they said to me, "Well, what would you have a choice? Would you like an autograph, or would you like to get a photo with me?" I'll go for the photo. I want the photo hands down. You know. But it's not like you have a choice. If you have a choice, I take it. Julio, I imagine it cannot be easy. It don't come easy. Yeah. Well, actually, Paul does sometimes walk like a normal person. He does sometimes, not that much, but he does that to a point. You can see him. He was on. Wasn't he on like a train? He was on a subway. Was it in England? He was on like a train. There's a photo of him on a train, and he does it a little bit. There's that footage that you see in the movie, the documentary, The Love You Make. Paul's walking on the streets of Manhattan a little bit, but then he quickly gets back in the limo, and it's like, let's go. Like he can only, and I don't blame him. He can only allow himself so much. It's very brave of Paul to do that. Considering what happened to John. A lot of people have this idea if it's in New York, you know, it's dangerous. Where opposed to other places, it's not. It could happen anywhere. Don't forget too the idiot, the jerk of all jerks that killed John Lennon wasn't a New Yorker. He came from Hawaii. He came over to New York. Remember that as well. And don't forget, George was almost murdered, stabbed to death in England in his own mansion. That's a good point, Henry. John said that he didn't feel bugged. He said, I might sign. All right, exactly. That good point. He did say, I might sign one autograph, two autographs. And it still gets me to this day that I didn't make the effort to go in there and see him at those days before. But it's water under the bridge. I don't think it's too much to say to Paul or Ringo, "Hey, Paul, just want to say thanks, man. Thanks for the music." Is that real? Of a whole life of buying all McCartney stuff or Ringo stuff, you really think that's a lot to ask? That's what I think of that. I don't think so. Okay, where are we at? If you could have 10 or 20 minutes with Paul, that's a long time. I would be happy with 10, 15 seconds, 10 or 15 seconds with Paul or Ringo. That's all. Just to say, like I said before. And you before, but if you could have 10 or 20 minutes, and beforehand you could prepare questions, would you think of questions they've never been asked, or you just go all mushy? I would think of questions they never been asked. Yes, I like the Rolling Stones. I am a Rolling Stones fan, but not fanatic. Not a diehard. I take Led Zeppelin over Pink Floyd, but I also like Pink Floyd. I think I answered this yesterday. I feel like I don't think Neil Aspinall wrote a memoir, John. I don't think so. My favorite Dylan song. There's so many of them. Where do I begin? Again, I don't know. I'll name some of my favorites. Like a Rolling Stone, obviously. It's all over now, Baby Blue. Um, I shall be free. I'm trying to think of like some. I like Joker Man. There's all different songs from different periods, really, that I like. Positively Fourth Street. The song "See Yourself" is a good song. I like that. Yeah, I think the 33 and a third album is a good album. I do, and I like "See Yourself." Well, I agree with that, Dave. You should respect a celebrity who just wants to go get dinner without having to sign everyone who comes up for an autograph. But you got to understand, in the case of Paul McCartney, right? If you're as big a fan as, say, I am, or most of us are, if you were hoping that with a chance encounter, and you just happen to be like sitting at a restaurant, and you say, "Oh my God, that's Paul over there. It's Paul," right? I wouldn't be. I'm not sure I could do it. I also have decorum and respect, and I wouldn't want to offend him. But I'd have to do something. I'd have to at least say, "Hi, Paul. Just want to tell you, Great album. The new album, great. Or something. I'd walk by him and say, "Great album." Just want to tell you that, Paul, and maybe walk by him or something. I'd say something. I'd have to. Now, on the other hand, during Hurricane Sandy, when we had Hurricane Sandy here, I went to an Italian restaurant, a local Italian restaurant, and Burt Young was there. Burt Young, who's known for playing Paulie in the Rocky films, he was there. I recognized him, and he was sitting eating dinner. I could not get up the nerve to talk to him or bother him. I didn't want to bother him. The man was eating dinner. I didn't want to bother him. Sure enough, as the night progressed, a few people did get the nerve, and they went up and said hello, and he seemed pretty cool about it. He was in the mood. He was all right. He seemed very nice. He seemed, from what I can tell from sitting down a few tables, I could see he seemed to welcome it. But the difference between Burt Young and Paul McCartney is, for me, is I didn't spend my whole life thinking about Burt Young. You know, that's the difference for me. The difference for me. You know. Well, it's not rumors. That's the truth. I'm sorry. People. It's legendary. Ringo being rude to people. I'm not saying he's always rude. I'm not saying there aren't the moments where he's cool, but he has been. I've heard stories, people who've seen him or met him or tried to meet him and stuff. Would I rather have a photo or a short audio recording of me interacting? I'd rather have a video. That's for my channel. Haha. These days. But that's a good question. If it's a matter of a photo with Paul or Ringo, or a short audio clip of us conversing, I'd probably want to have the photo. If it's a video, I'll go for the video. Okay. Did Talking back about Paul, he rode the tube. No, not just press to play. I'm talking about. I didn't just mean the press to play video. There's a photo of Paul way after 1986, fairly recent years, of him sitting reading on a public train and going somewhere, and nobody's bothering him. That's what I was referring to, not the press video. This doesn't make sense, but Joe, everyone who asks for autographs aren't you. I know it's not easy sometimes. Sometimes people talk into the voice recognition, or sometimes they just type fast. I don't really know what you're saying there. That's a possibility too, Lila. That's a distinct possibility. Well, I've been through this already. I've been through this before. I've given you my opinions on it. Thank you, Matthew. There was no official funeral for John. You know, you have his sister Julia Baird complaining that she wasn't invited to the funeral. Well, there was no funeral. Marianne Faithful does "It's All Over Now, Baby Blue." She's all right, Marianne Faithful. It's impossible. I can't come up with my favorite Rolling Stones song. "Painted Black" is one of my favorites, but there's so many. I'd be here all day. You know. What can I tell you? "Under My Thumb," "Street Fighting Man," "Ruby Tuesday," "Beast of Burden." Jeez, "It's All Over Now," "The Last Time." I could go on forever. "Play with Fire." No, I did not know this. I did not know this little factoid. Yeah, right. He didn't have a funeral. There was a moment of silence that was. I think it's 10 minutes of silence, and I was there. I was there. I wasn't in Central Park. I was in the crowd, uh, kind of like in the street by the Dakota. Oh, I agree. Yoko Ono sounds really great in Happy Christmas, War is Over. I think that's actually, it makes the song sometimes. I think it helps with the emotion of it. I do. Oh, thank you, Chris. That's interesting. I wouldn't say that I was particularly starstruck when met Pete Best. No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it was wonderful to meet Pete Best, terrific, but I wasn't starstruck. I always like when I meet somebody who says a part of entertainment history, that I like. And being that he was with the Beatles, that was something. It was pretty cool. Hey, Ollie. Ruby Tuesday. Yes, I did see Matthew's review. That was quite a blender he had there. Quite a kind of like bland concoction he had to drink. It was funny. Funny video. Speaking of the Rolling Stones, some new music coming soon. I wonder if it'll sound just like everything else they've done the last 30 years. Ah! Yeah, sorry. Or however many years it's been now, I don't know. Yes, American Graffiti has a soundtrack album, a very popular soundtrack album. It's when it was on vinyl, it's more than one. It's a double record set. Well, Ringo is already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, isn't he? He is. And Yoko, yeah, I think she should be in there too. I know a lot of people won't agree with that, but she influenced the B-52s, Lena Lovitch, a whole bunch of stuff. She had a lot of weird style music, avant-garde. So there you go. Yeah, I think she was important. Okay, we're just about to hit 1 hour here as I catch up. I just got caught up with the comments, so don't know how much longer I'll be on, but we'll see. Well, I think we're running near the end of the line. If there are no more questions, 1 hour, perfect. Okay, folks, that's it. Thank you all for being here. Join me next week where I should be doing this again. And let's see what's going to happen Tuesday. I'm going to be going back to that schoolroom, the classroom that I sometimes record for. So there you go. So anyway, I don't know. I'm going to be here probably for the next one, Saturday. But in the future, I'll be moving to the other location. And maybe a different day too. I don't know. So anyway, thank you all. Yes, indeed, Julio. It's very tiring to do this, but what can I tell you? Must be even more tiring being Paul McCartney and getting besieged by fans. The only difference is I don't get paid what he does to make it at least a little bit nicer. All right, everybody. Great doing this though. See you soon.